It didn't start with fines. It started with whispers. When Karen became HOA president, she called it a new era of accountability. She spoke smoothly, professionally, promised higher property values, and restored standards. At first, neighbors applauded. Then she began sending private emails, not community-wide announcements, personal messages. Several residents have expressed concern about the Johnsons' yard. Multiple complaints regarding late-night noise at the Millers. She never named who complained, just implied. And slowly, suspicion spread. People stopped waving across driveways, conversations shortened, garage doors closed faster. The Johnsons assumed the Millers reported them. The Millers suspected the corner house. Neighbors began watching each other, measuring lawns, counting trash can hours. Karen encouraged it subtly. If you see something, say something, she wrote in the newsletter. Then came the fines. One house for holiday decorations left up too long, another for a basketball hoop disrupting aesthetics. But what made it worse? Karen would casually mention complaints in meetings. Several residents feel, many of you have voiced. She turned vague statements into weapons, and nobody could prove otherwise. The neighborhood didn't feel hostile yet, just tense, like something invisible was tightening. And the worst part? People believed each other were the problem, not her. The fines increased, but so did the rumors. Karen began holding private compliance discussions. She would invite one homeowner at a time to the clubhouse, conversations behind closed doors. Afterward, those homeowners acted differently, quieter, careful. One neighbor stopped hosting barbecues. Another removed a swing set without explanation. Soon, Karen introduced a community standards task group, volunteers encouraged to protect neighborhood integrity. It sounded harmless, but the task group became surveillance. Residents photographing minor infractions, submitting reports through a new online portal. Karen praised them publicly. Thank you for helping maintain excellence. Meanwhile, enforcement wasn't consistent. Those who attended meetings and agreed with her, rarely cited. Those who questioned budgets, suddenly under scrutiny. Driveways inspected weekly, windows documented, mailboxes measured. Arguments broke out. The Johnsons confronted the Millers over a suspected complaint. Voices raised. Children watched from porches. Karen observed from a distance, calm, detached. At the next HOA meeting, she said something telling. Conflict happens when people fail to follow standards. She framed division as homeowner failure, not leadership manipulation, and the neighborhood began to fracture. Not loudly, but deeply. Trust eroded. Friendships cooled. Block parties were canceled. Neighbors who once borrowed tools now avoided eye contact. Karen didn't need to shout. She just needed people divided. Because divided neighbors don't organize. They accuse each other. The breaking point came quietly. Thomas, who had lived there for 9 years, began reviewing violation records. He noticed something strange. Complaints always referenced multiple residents, but timestamps were clustered, submitted within minutes of each other. From the same internal system, he requested enforcement logs. Karen delayed, then claimed privacy restrictions, but Thomas persisted. He spoke privately with neighbors, and something unexpected happened. No one had filed complaints against each other. Not the Johnsons, not the Millers, not the elderly couple at the end of the block. The anonymous reports all originated from administrative access. Karen. The community division had been manufactured. Carefully, strategically. She created the illusion of neighbor complaints to justify selective enforcement. When Thomas shared the findings with a few trusted residents, the shift was immediate. Anger replaced suspicion. Relief replaced paranoia. The Johnsons apologized to the Millers. The Millers apologized back. The problem had never been each other. It had been centralized power. An emergency meeting was requested. Attendance doubled. Not out of fear, out of clarity. And when the projector displayed internal system logs showing complaint submissions traced to one account, the room went silent, not confused, not divided, unified for the first time in months. Karen's strategy depended on isolation, but exposure had reversed it. The vote was swift, not emotional, not chaotic, measured. Karen attempted to defend herself, claimed she was streamlining communication, that anonymous reporting was for harmony, but harmony built on deception collapses quickly. Residents stood one by one, shared how they had blamed each other, friendships damaged, trust broken. Mrs. Alvarez described crying after accusing her neighbor of reporting her garden. The Johnsons admitted months of resentment over nothing. Karen tried to reframe it as misunderstanding, but the system logs didn't lie. She had submitted the majority of the complaints. She had fueled suspicion. She had benefited from division. The removal vote passed decisively, immediately. As she walked out of the clubhouse, no one shouted. No one clapped. They simply watched. Because the real damage wasn't financial, it was relational. And rebuilding that would take time. But something had changed. Neighbors lingered afterward, talking again, exchanging apologies, planning a block barbecue, because unity had returned. Not perfectly, but honestly. HOAs are meant to preserve community, not fracture it. And when leadership creates division to maintain control, it eventually loses both. If you've ever seen leaders turn people against each other to hold power, share your experience in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share. Because silence protects manipulation, exposure restores community.